Hello and welcome to Stories of Tricking, Episode 4. My name is Trevor Birch and I'm going to be your host today. And today we're going to get into the interviews with Adam Devenport and Jacobie Burton. Both of them are trickers who hope to cultivate a bright future for the tricking community and who hope to do that by bringing tricking to the youth and really inspiring the youth to give it their best.
The more that I got into tricking, the more that I realized this was where my whole mindset, my whole life path, this is what was going to help me bringing all of that to life, into fruition, into vision.
たりに結構叱られて育ったので、みんながやってることを子供の頃はやりなさいやりなさいって言われるのが日本の感性なんですけど、僕はそれに対してすごい反骨心を持ってて。
Once upon a time zone, there was a man who journeyed through the cosmos in search of the future of tricking. Is the youth the key to tricking's future? How does the community affect tricking? Will tricking live on forever? Or will it fade away like the waves of the ocean? He searches through space and time for the answers to the questions on his mind, never knowing if he will ever find them.
I am Father Time, the sojourner of the cosmos, and the all-knowing of the past, the present, and the future. There are three things that we need to travel through time. The location, the time, and the vessel. Once these things have been focused on, we travel.
My name's Adam Devenport. I'm 28 years old. I've been tricking for 12 years and I'm from Irmo, South Carolina. I got into tricking because I was doing parkour and free running with one of my friends I used to wrestle with. And then we went to an open gym across town and there was a group of trickers called Risky Business. It's like Isaac, Yagi, Morgan, Mason, Ben Hitz. I don't know if you guys know Ben Hitz. But some iconic legends back, like our grandfathers of tricking back in South Carolina. They were just doing like cheat gainers into the resi, and Bailey Payne and I were like, yo, like, what is that? And they're like, it's called a gainer. So we both learned like a gainer into the resi the same night, and then we're like, wow, we're trickers. I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I got that whenever I was younger. It's very traditional, but I had like the martial arts background. And then through transitioning into not just tricking, but also cheerleading and coaching gymnastics, I fell in love with tumbling. I fell in love with the flips. I had the kicks in that foundation. I love being stylish and swaggy, and I love being competitive. I've always done sports. So I just feel like I've just been waiting my whole life to find something like this, and we found it. So I'm glad I caught it when I was 16. what fuels my passion for tricking is the community, really, because there's a lot of really cool sports. There's a lot of sports I love. I love skateboarding. I love parkour and free running. I love so many different forms of movement, dance, martial arts, so much different forms of art in general, just personal expression. So I've always considered myself an artist and a martial artist, but I didn't know you can combine the two, and tricking is where I found that. But when I found the community and I learned how small this was and how tight-knit it was and how much room there was to grow, me being a coach by nature, I'm just always looking at the potential of the youth and just looking at where tricking is, where tricking could be, what we could make tricking for the next people, like what we can make tricking into for the next people. I was just like, we got to do this, like we got to be in this, and I just committed because I knew that in order for tricking to become something, we all need to commit. Like we need a very, very strong few that commit the whole time. So I'll do this till I die. I mean, I'll be with this community till I die. They're closer to family than friends, so. Wherever we take that shit. Yeah, because like the community is whatever we make it. And for so long, especially me being in tricking since like 2010, I've like seen what's going on, and I've heard of visions, and I've heard of dreams, and I've heard of concepts, and I've heard of people saying like 8 years from now this is going to be in the Olympics, or I've heard of people make lofty statements and ambitious goals, but like none of that happens unless we do it. Like everyone's kind of waiting around for somebody that's not involved with tricking to kind of swoop in and solve our problems, but we have the problems. It's like, I think of tricking as a child and it's like 13 or 14 years old. And it's like we're asking it to get a full-time job and make $60,000 a year or something. But it's like tricking's not there yet. It's still in its adolescent years. We still have to nurture it and grow it. So tricking needs nurturing right now. And tricking needs that like empathy and the nurturing and the care for the youth and for the community. And really, if you look at anybody pushing the boundaries of tricking, it's like other than the athleticism, it's the coaches. It's the coaches coaching year round. It's the coaches promoting it, teaching people what tricking is firsthand. Like when a tricker that's been in tricking for a long time, like does a new skill, tricking broadens, but it broadens in a even more real way when someone learns their first backflip. Or when someone is like, wow, I think I'm a tricker. They go to bed for their first night in their life and they're like, wow, I'm a tricker. You know, that sense of belonging. So I think that's what really grows the sport. And all that's done, you know, in the shadows. Like no one's at hooked on the front stage, winner, and it's a coach from America. It's always like the athlete that gets the shine, but the coaches are what's really bringing this to fruition. So coming together and learning what everyone's teaching and learning what we can do with the community, we realize who are the main players, and now it's just about figuring out what we're doing with these players, you know. So keeping it internal is important, I think. Well, this is how I explain it to my dad. My dad's like, how are you so invested in this sport and you've been doing it for so long and you're still kind of where you are now? You thought you might be somewhere else. And I was like, because I realized it wasn't just about me and my journey. This is about, we're not just building a brand, we're not just building athletes, we're building an industry. So as soon as I realized that, I was just like, well, this is a slow game that we're playing. We're in this for long transitions. Like, you can't just try a certain battle type and think that it's the winner. This is how it's gonna work. You gotta do it, you gotta do it again, you gotta do it again, you have to mix it up, you have to change it up, you need that versatility. So being active and being maneuverable in the society of the community of tricking is like important. That's what stimulates our growth. I know that what's going to happen in tricking, at least the garden in which I touch, is inevitable because I'm going to do it. I already set down things in stone that I'm going to do for tricking, and there's a lot of other people that have felt similarly and are doing things for tricking like unconditionally. you know, so that kind of stuff's inevitable. So I'm excited for the dreams and ideas that I have that are coming to fruition, but I'm also stimulating and super excited about all the other ideas that people are doing. Even the way Battle of Fury was run this time, it's just like everything's new, we're all trying something new, and we're gonna figure this shit out, like we are. I was saying that I've always considered myself like a martial artist, and I've also considered myself an artist, but I didn't know that there was a way to be both. You know, I think of it like the analogy that I described actually really recently is like, imagine a painter that can paint the most beautiful colors, the most beautiful lines, that takes dedication, and as soon as they do it, it vanishes. But wow, was that beautiful, you know? Like imagine Picasso, but as he was doing it, and as soon as it's done, just all melts away. That's kind of like what tricking is. And the only thing we have left is like the video, and the video is just one pinpoint section of what just happened, you know? And we've gotten like virtual reality suits that we've gotten into and been able to look at it from every angle, but just being there and seeing it and feeling the power that comes from the trick and the art that it is in real life that you could never get through a screen, that's undescribable. Like that's like, it literally looks like masterpieces being created, and as soon as they're created, just float off, and all we can do is remember it or film it, you know? So it's beautiful. Tricking is like one of my favorite forms of, my 100% favorite form of art for sure. And it's meant for the people there. Like what we performed, yeah, there's people on the Trickdynamix TikTok, and there's people going on Instagram Live, and people going live on whatever, people going live all over. But the people that were actually here that could feel the pain of that of whenever that injury happened, or they could see it and their heart drops whenever they see the craziest trick. They're like, oh my gosh, is he gonna land it or die? And then he lands it and the whole room explodes. Like a video is cool, but if you're here, it's just way different. Like and that's why I'm such a big proponent of gatherings. I say go to as many gatherings as you can, because, you know, tricking could blow up and become this next big thing, and we're able to fulfill our dreams, you know, or the whole world ends tomorrow. And this was a beautiful era that we got to live in. So I just say show up and be a part of it while it is, because it's always ever changing too. Like tricking is ever changing. So if you're a part of it now, it's a blessing. But come to Battle of Fury next year, it's going to be different. You know, and there's going to be different people there. There's going to be some people that are here this year that can't make it. You know, ideally it's bigger. That's always our goal. But yeah, if you show up to the events, you're going to capture exactly what tricking is.
The story of Adam continues as each day passes, and the tricking community will forever grow from his influence and shapes. As Father Time walked the eons, the seasons changed, the days got colder, Father Time grew weary. Adam's words had given him hope for the future of tricking, but it seemed that As time went on, tricking stayed stagnant. Another sampler of another tricker released, another gathering with a large prize pool, another quad cork. Something was missing, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel, a vessel of hope in the future. The youth, the up-and-coming trickers of new.
Alright, what's good? I'm Jacobie. I'm 19 years old, Bear Hustle Team sponsored athlete. I'm from Northeast Ohio and I've been tricking for 7 years. Well, kind of like 7 years. I started like free running and like parkour in like late 2015. And I was always interested in like some of the tricking skills. I was able to do like hyper hooks and like, TDR corks and like cork and like double fulls and stuff. But I didn't really take tricking seriously until like freshman year of high school. So I guess I really kind of sold my soul to tricking from like 5 years ago. Why did I stick with tricking? Okay, I thought parkour and free running's cool and all, being able to use your and adapt to your like surroundings and stuff. But I really liked tricking because you could do it anywhere, right? You could just be on flat ground, just be able to make the craziest illusions and make it look like you're defying gravity. You're creating shapes that are so abnormal that people's brains literally can't even comprehend what you're doing. So I think that's kind of why I stuck with tricking. I thought it was like, yo, this is so dope. Flat ground, I can do it anywhere. And then the first gathering I ever went to was like Neo 4. So that really put me onto tricking. I'm like, wow, like this is what I want to do. I want to be these like these big guys that are tricking and stuff. So I think that's where I really got my inspiration from. And like the SGTF guys, I used to see them session all the time. And I would never session with them because I was too scared. But I was like, damn, like I want to do that. I want to do that. I never really got super in-depth in the parkour community. I only just did parkour and then watched a little parkour on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. I think tricking really sold me because it was like a family, right? Like I was really welcomed into tricking. Like even at my first gathering, everyone was so welcoming. I remember talking to Will Coney's for the first time, and that was crazy. And how personable the pros were, and how like it didn't seem like there was a huge divide between like just because you weren't at their skill level, you couldn't talk to them, right? It was very inclusive and very encouraging. And it's just like a family and support that I've kind of always looked for in my life. So I think that's why I stuck with tricking. The support was like the number one reason. I would go to the all-around sessions with like SGTF a little bit. I would see them train there a little bit, and then I'd come to the above the bar sessions occasionally. And sometimes they'd be there, but I'd mostly train with this kid named Tam Wynn. Killer, what a beast. And then I would just train like literally on grass or in my school or on concrete, because I couldn't drive, and my parents couldn't always drive me to like go to open gyms and stuff, so I didn't always really get to hang out or session with those guys. So I did a lot of solo training on my own, a lot of YouTube learning, a lot of screen recording videos. I have like DMs asking Ethan Turner like how can I double cork and stuff. It's hilarious. And now we're literally on the same team and we're touring together. It's our second tour together. It's crazy. The off-axis double backs, just the over-excessive amount of double flips. I mean, I guess Taka does a lot of that too, but Taka's way better. He uses way more transitions. I think like back when I was like in high school, it was the fact that I was tricking in school hallways a lot and doing like cart trip in my school hallway and in like the playground and like trying to do double backs on concrete and shit. I think that's what really made me stick out in the beginning, was I was a concrete tricker. I always labeled myself as that. But I think now it's definitely just like everyone knows me for like the double flips. So I get like the off axis double flips. So I think I guess that's like my new unique thing. But I think Frank Vova is kind of like the only other person who does like the off axis double flips and shit. I think double back. Okay, so when I first started training, double full was like my dream trick. I'm like, once I get double full, I'm like, I'm done. I could chill. Then I got double full and I was like, shit, like I want to do more. So I think I was like, dang, I really want to double back. That was my dream trick for the longest time. I think I did my first double back on a rod floor at Woodward in like 2017 or something like that. So I was like, dang, double back's sick. Double back's really dope. And then I think I really wanted to try it from TDR, and I did it from TDR, and I'm like, dang, how far can I push the double backs in tricking? I personally think round off double back is super boring. I don't do a lot of round off double backs anymore. I'm chasing every tricking setup for double back right now. Double cork swings I need to work on. I've got a lot of weaknesses. I can kick pretty well, but I definitely want to do higher level kicks. More like full variations, like full snapu rounds, or like my favorite full variations, like full snapu swipe knife. That's sick. That's a dope one. Zen did that in the Oslo battles. I love that trick. I definitely want to do shurikens and stuff like that, and I definitely just want to get better swing chains. So those are tricks that I need to work on for sure. Maybe more transition work too. I can do megas, I can do semis, but I don't do them often. So I want to get comfortable in all areas of tricking, but right now we're just pushing the double flips really hard. I want to be better than Michael Guthrie.
Heard it here first.
It used to just be like, dang, I'm racing to be the youngest to double back on concrete. Like, I want to do world's first or whatever. But I think now I just really want to push the sport. Honestly, what fuels my passion for tricking is being able to give back to the youth in tricking. When I started tricking, I was in a gym that was really close to me, but my instructors didn't know anything. And it's not their fault. They just weren't super into the sport, or they weren't super into tricking and parkour and stuff. They didn't really know it that well. So it got to the point where I was better than the coaches, doing things better than the coaches, and I was like 12. And I just really wish there was a way to progress at that gym. I had to leave that gym because there was just nothing else for me to do there. So I came back to this gym now, and I run the whole program and everything, and I'm working on creating a national circuit for kids to compete in. I'm really trying to take it seriously. So I'm working with Battle of Fury. We're trying to get a Young Fury thing started next year with our kids and some more kids. And the goal is to make a national circuit so kids can travel all over the country for tricking, parkour, free running kind of thing. So yeah, I just want to give back the love of movement to kids and allow them to do something with it at a young age. I really want to push the sport somewhere. I was able to drop out of college for this. I dropped out of college twice to pursue this dream of like being a gym owner. I don't own the gym, but I own the program pretty much. And eventually I'm going to open up multiple gyms for this stuff and work on this circuit with, Trickdynamix, and then hopefully loop kicks and a bunch of other gyms is the goal. So yeah. That's it. That's the vision. I'm pretty excited.
Father Time could travel anywhere, past, present, and future. but nothing was certain. The flow of time was like the currents of the ocean. In the end, he just needed to have hope that in time, tricking would have its place. In time, tricking would create huge waves to impact the world.